President Joe Biden just reappointed Jerome Powell for a second term as the Fed chairman. So what does this mean for us and what can we expect? Let's talk. Welcome back to Key Talks, guys. So I want to start off by talking about why this is even important. Why should you care about whether Jerome Powell is the chairman of the Federal Reserve or not? Well, let's start off thinking about why the Federal Reserve is important. You see, the Federal Reserve and the FOMC is in charge of the monetary policy in America. Now, they're basically in charge of the money printing. Now, they don't actually print money, but what the Federal Reserve does is they are in charge of giving out either like banknotes or something similar to banknotes to private banks, which allow them to print debt. And debt is money, right? That's how money is actually printed and put into the economy. And looking back, Jerome Powell has always been a supporter of the economy. So what does this mean? So what Jerome Powell does is he props up the economy during times of recession. So as the economy gets more money into the system, the theory is that the money will eventually work its way down to the economy. And then the economy will also get propped up. And then they'll both be at a median. At this point, what should happen is that the money in the system, the amount that you're printing, should start getting tapered downwards, and then interest rates should start going up, which means the economy will still stay like that. And then afterwards, it's just going to be a balance between the up and down between the both of them. Now, why is this important? So this is important because the amount of money that is in the system will correlate to how high inflation will go and how high asset prices will go in general. So this has a strong correlation to how much money that banks and institutions have and private investors also have to buy real estate, to buy stocks, to buy bonds or crypto or any assets out there. All right, guys, here's the article. Biden reappoints Jerome Powell as Fed chairman at a critical time for the economy. This article is dated for November 22nd, 2021. Now, under Powell and Bernard, the Fed has kept interest rates near zero despite the current high prices for all kinds of goods, as it focuses on returning the economy to full employment and as policymakers argue or urge that inflation will prove temporary. Powell and Bernard share the administration's focus that the economy growth broadly benefits all workers. Now, Biden's pick to stick with Powell will likely reassure financial markets. But this is what I was talking about, guys, that how Powell reassures the financial market is key to where you invest your money. Now, Powell also oversaw a new Fed policy that directs central banks to be patient in raising interest rates in hopes of fostering widespread job growth. Now, the policy was adopted in 2020 after years in which inflation fell short of the Fed's 2% target, but it's now being tested as prices have surged, pushing inflation to a 31-year high, guys. This is also important to know. If you want to keep up with inflation, then where do you put your money? You have to find a way to beat inflation when you're investing. That's pretty much the game of investing. Now, the central bank has to weigh the risk of tolerating higher inflation against the cost of choking off job growth with higher interest rates at a time when millions of people are still out of work. It's extremely important that we get that right, Powell said recently at a conference sponsored by the South African Reserve Bank. Now, why this is important to us is simply because looking at what Jerome Powell is doing will simply tell us where we should be putting our money in the market. Because where the money goes is where you should be going. Chase the money. Following the money is a policy that I strongly believe in. So if the Federal Reserve starts to increase the interest rates, then it becomes harder to borrow money from the private banks. If they decrease it or keep it at zero or close to zero where it is right now, then it becomes much easier to borrow against your assets to get more money. Now, this becomes very important for investors because what they do is they borrow against their assets to get debt and then use that debt to reinvest into more assets. And that's how they grow their portfolio. This is what a lot of rich people do. And if you want to know more about this, you can just Google Robert Kiyosaki. He talks a lot about borrowing money and the difference between good debt and bad debt and how to increase your good debt. Now, the Fed did start tapering already. So what that means is because of the pandemic, they have been buying billions of dollars of notes every single month and mortgage-backed securities every single month. But now they've started tapering, which means they're buying less and less every single month starting this month in November. Now, they're doing this in such a way that they're keeping the markets continually propped up and slowly decreasing the amount of money that enters the system. regardless of how hard they try, the truth is they've actually printed about 40% of all of the US dollars in the system last year already. So I know we don't see the effects of it so much now, even though we've just seen propped up stock market and propped up real estate market, and now everyone assumes that there's going to be a bubble soon. But the truth is, because there's so much money that has already been printed in the system, eventually real inflation is going to catch up to us. Knowing and understanding a lot of these concepts is very, very important, because it can really, really help you protect yourself and make sure that you're invested in assets and diversified so that you can actually keep up with inflation. Because let's be real, if you can't even keep up with inflation, then what's the point of even investing? Thank you guys so much for watching my video. My goal in this channel is to reach 1,000 subscribers. So I would really, really, really appreciate it if you can hit that subscribe button, and please give that big thumbs up like button a smash, so then everyone in the YouTube community can also see my video. Thank you guys so much for watching again. Talk to you soon. Take care.